Bolts.
Chris Frank Games. This is a video game podcast, and my name is Chris Stotts, and we got Frank White here as well. Frank, how's it going?
It is going great.
Frank, I say this every time we record on a Saturday morning, but remember the days when you'd wake up on Saturdays and rush down to the TV and make a bowl of cereal and watch Transformers or He-Man or Batman, the animated series?
Anytime my kids are like, "Nah, I want to watch this show," I'm like, I have to explain that to them. It doesn't register. They're like, "What?" No, you just go to the iPad and you tell it the show that you want to watch. No, you had to wait. You had to wait a week if you missed it.
Yeah. Saturday, yeah. The only time it was Kids Day was like Saturday morning, for the most part. And here we are today, at 7 and 9 a.m. respectively,
Mhm.
and drinking coffee, talking about video games. The times have changed. The times have changed. I'll tell you that much.
Adults don't do things; they just talk about doing. Excuse me.
Yeah. All right. So this is a video game podcast, and we're going to talk about video games. If you're watching on YouTube, I did not update the date on the thing, so it's not June 14th. It's June 22nd. Sorry about that. And we don't have like a
Don't
whole.
get confused in case you're basing your calendar around Chris Frank games.
Yeah, they're gonna be
We
like.
apologize.
They're gonna be like, wow, these guys are looking into the future, talking about the news of the future right here. So.
Or we'll disrupt global productivity because everyone will be confused after watching this.
Yeah, it's very possible. So, by the way, I was checking out that Joe Rogan episode where he was talking to Bob Lazar. Do you know who this guy is? This Bob Lazar guy?
No.
He's this guy that claims he worked over by like Area 51 and stuff like that. He's like this physicist. Has a whatever, he knows about like rocketry and stuff like that, and he says that they're studying like 9 different like UFO like craft or something like that. They're from some sort of alien technology, and they weren't like studying the whole thing. The whole groups were like segmented so that only certain people knew certain things and all that stuff, just to keep it all like confusing and everything. And I don't know, it's the way that he's describing this stuff. It's pretty nuts. It's pretty crazy.
Did he talk about the lawsuits? Was he involved in the lawsuits?
I'm not sure. I don't know what
that would give his story more credibility.
What are the lawsuits for Area 51?
Well, because like a bunch of people, because they in real world, non-crazy person land, they do classified like rocket fuel like experiments and stuff like that there. And a bunch of the contractors, they fly out from Vegas on a special plane. We're getting like cancer and respiratory problems.
Oh yeah.
And they tried to, sue. They were trying to say it was an unhealthy work environment. And yeah, it's really hard to sue Area 51, it turns out. And I think they lost. Because there's so little information you can the thing that I can't talk about gave me cancer.
Yeah. The alien spacecraft. Well, hey, it was alien cancer, so they're not liable. It's not a human. You can call
it's the aliens' fault.
Yeah, you can say that's an act of God, I think.
Yeah.
Right? That this technology is like magical.
You can sue Grognak, but that's out of our jurisdiction.
Well, yeah, we're gonna pay him in anyways. What is he gonna get?
Space bucks.
These worthless space bucks. Yeah, 1 billion space bucks. Jesus, can't even buy a hamburger. All right. Well, I guess we can talk about video games for a second. Big announcement. Big video game announcement in commercialism. Dr. Mario World for iOS and Google Store, whatever thing.
Cool.
It's not super related to the original Dr. Mario. It's actually the pills are going up. Have you seen the gameplay of this?
I have not. So pills are going up.
That's the new feature. The pills go up in this one.
Pills go up.
You direct them into the mouths of suburban women with back pain. No, okay. No. So so the pills go up, and then you got to connect the 3 colors with the little microbes and all that stuff, and you can actually like move the pills like left or right with your finger. So it looks, I don't know. I thought it looked pretty fun. and they kind of have this adventure mode thing where they got you going through like one of those Super Mario World things where you're going from level to level. So that looks fun. However, when you kind of read the description here, and I think I don't know, so I pulled this out. I think there's some Wario 64 actually. Dr. Mario World IAP pricing, in-app pricing, can be used to purchase diamonds. Okay, this is the how do they make money, right? Dr. Mario World in-app pricing.
So it's free to play, I take it. Then.
Yeah, free to play. Can be used to purchase diamonds to continue a stage, attain items, or restore stamina.
Ooh, we got a stamina meter in a puzzle game,
yeah, huh? I don't know.
Good job, guys.
I don't know about you, Frank, but just reading that makes me feel really icky, just dirty, right? And I don't know. I guess on one hand, it's kind of disappointing to kind of see Nintendo kind of make a Candy Crush, and I don't know. Who knows if it's like as bad. And by the way, I don't know. People say Candy Crush is a good game. You know what I mean? So I shouldn't hate on that because I've never played it. But, yeah, I mean, if they're doing, who knows? I'm sure it's friendly gouging, but, I don't
know. This is something I've never seen before. You can pre-order a free-to-play game. Yeah. Expected July 10th, and you can hit the button to get it, but you're pre-ordering it. I'm like, but it's free. What?
Can you pre-order? Okay. Can you pre-order the Space Bucks? Is that possible?
Probably.
Get the Founders Pack for $99. If you already know you're going to be buying this shit. Yeah, so you'll have to you'll have to buy stuff probably to because I guess what happens with these Candy Crush games is that, you get a couple of easy levels and then bam, you hit like a super hard level and it's really tough to figure out, and you can do it, but most normal human beings can't, and you kind of have to pay to go forward or something. I guess that's kind of how it works. So yeah, I don't know. Well, it's not even out. You gotta judge it when it's actually out, right?
We have till July 10th.
Yeah.
Here, I'll hit the button now. Bam.
Well, according to the show, that's 8 weeks from now, but it's actually 7 weeks from now. No, like 3 weeks actually. Okay. All right. Just other news. Really short. Not a lot of news this week. Everyone's kind of sleeping after EA. So, Respawn announced that they're going to have an announcement of this is an announcement of an announcement. They're going to show off a AAA VR game this fall.
Okay.
So I don't think that's hard to figure out because they've already said that another Titanfall game is coming out this year, right? So, I mean, it's kind of pretty much a Titanfall game, I would imagine. So
that would make sense for VR, being in a cockpit, doll.
Yeah, that'd be fun, actually. Like a mech.
Yeah.
Like strictly mechish. Yeah, you know what? That's now that I think about it, that'd actually be really, really fun in VR. And it's built on the build, or no, not build engine, but the Source engine, right? So haven't they ported a lot of these Source games to VR already? So
well, yeah, there was a lot of Team Fortress was an early VR port kind of thing. Yeah, I don't know how well it works, but
I think I think Valve has kind of made it really simple to maybe port. So I don't know if that actually has anything to do with it, but it's going to be at Oculus Connect 6, September 25th to the 26th. So there you go. Or it might be that Star Wars game in VR. It may have a VR mode. That's another possibility. But they said it was new though, so it's not going to be like a Titanfall 1 and 2 in VR. All right, super.
It's Titan Fly. Yeah. That's the ticket.
All right, and then I was giving out YouTube recommendations here. I saw a pretty nice, pretty good video from My Life in Gaming, the channel, which makes pretty good content. It's just basically these two guys talking about old video games, and they were in their teenage years during the Super Nintendo years and the N64 years. So it's right in my wheelhouse.
To our age.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so they did one about M2, which I don't, I didn't really know too much about it because they've basically been emulating Genesis games, and I'm not a big Genesis guy. But so it's a doc on the company in M2. They're in Japan. I think a couple former Hudson Soft employees. I think that's what it was. But Basically, they kind of started, bringing back these like 8-bit and 16-bit games, arcade games, and all this stuff. And a lot of it was like Sega stuff. And again, not really big on that, so I never really knew about any of this stuff. But they would make these ports and then like add extra features like save and like challenges, and like all this extra stuff. So they kind of became known as a studio that did these ports and then actually went the extra mile and added stuff. And they have a real passion for like shoot 'em ups too. They love the shoot 'em ups. So yeah, so I don't know. So if you have a lot of 16-bit nostalgia, 8-bit nostalgia, check it out. It's interesting stuff. So, all right, that's all I had. Frank, do you have any?
No, not real. Well, I guess I have some tangentially related video game stuff. So if you have Amazon Prime, you have to search for it for some reason. Like they're not. It's a Prime exclusive, but they're not promoting it at all. But the guy who directed Drive, Nicholas Winding Refn, he's got a TV show out called Too Old to Die Young. And I don't know, not for everybody. If you liked, maybe try watching like some of his post-Drive movies first to see if you're going to be into this at all. Because I don't know if he took the right lessons from the success of Drive. It's like, well, okay, what if everyone talks even slower? So it's basically a 15-hour like crime movie that could easily be condensed down into like 3 hours, but it's got to have those long panning shots and such. But the video game connection here is that Refn is good friends with Hideo Kojima, which is why his likeness is in Death Stranding. He's a character named Heartman, because apparently we got to name our Death Stranding characters like Mega Man villains, but whatever. So I haven't actually gotten this far because it's a long show. Like every episode is almost feature length, or well, a lot of them are feature length. So it's a crime drama, and the Yakuza is involved, and Kojima himself shows up in the Yakuza focused episode. So
nice.
There's some cross pollination going on there.
Does he talk absolute gibberish? Like
I don't know. I haven't actually gotten that far.
Okay. Yeah. Let me know if he starts sprouting some crazy world conspiracy, arms dealing like gibberish that doesn't make any sense.
He's like, what would be cool with a monkey with a metal diaper that's addicted to Coca-Cola. But yeah, I've been watching that in what little time I can get away from the kids. So
nice. All right, very cool. Kojima. Yeah, just a couple.
His screen acting debut.
Yeah, he's he's want to be in. Yeah, man. He wants to be.
Well, he wanted to make movies before he got into games. So and it shows.
Yeah. Well, can't he just make his own movies now? I mean, why does he still make games?
He's got his niche now.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll take a break, and we'll be right back with the games we've been playing.
All right.
All right, you ready? Should we just go?
Yeah.
I'm going to make this super short.
20-minute
episode.
In spite of, having time alone with the kids these days, or this last week, I still I didn't play anything new, but I do have some stuff to talk about.
All right. Welcome back. We're going to talk about the games we've been playing, and I'll just go really quick. So I've been, plucking away at Spider-Man. I think I'm like 40%, 37%, something like that. But I'm not really. I kind of stopped doing the story missions for a minute, just because I just. When you're flying around, I just like doing. I like breaking up the burglaries, the terrorist bombs, and like all this other stuff, and the fights and the muggings and all that stuff. I don't know. I really like the combat stuff. So I guess to me, it's like maybe more appealing to be doing the combat than like the story missions. And that's kind of the thing about every freaking open world game is that it's kind of the random stuff is more fun.
Well, once you get to the DLCs, the story missions are a lot more like strictly combat focused.
Oh yeah, is that what the
Yeah.
people wanted? And they're like, we'll give it to you.
Well, I don't know because those DLCs came out fast. Like they clearly had
Yeah.
those like undergoing, well underway. Um, but yeah, so I mean, the game it just in general gets more combat focused, kind of as it goes along. I don't, have you gotten to the Mary Jane stealth stuff? That's very divisive.
Oh yeah, the where you gotta do the samurai puzzle or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm way past that.
There's a few kind of sections like that, and a lot of people. I mean, people just hate forced stealth in general.
Yeah.
But I don't think I ever actually like failed on any of those because they're pretty easy and linear.
Yeah, I think I failed the Mary Jane one once, but then I thought it was pretty. I mean, as long as you don't make it like difficult, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. It's like it breaks the pacing up, and you know if you're if you've been mainlining the story, you might need a you know a gameplay change up at that point. So
I do remember thinking, man, I do not want to do this right now, though. I do not want. Let me web some slings. You know, sling some webs, and then I'll say the other open world, especially like a Ubisoft trope, is like following a guy or a person and not getting caught, like being seen by it. Well, those missions are actually fun in Spider-Man because you're actually like slinging webs and moving around just moving around. It's a lot of fun. And so I'm a little bit further than this, but I noted down the terrorism bomb scene at the that speech that what do you call it, the Oscorp guy is giving, Osborn is giving. And I was kind of shocked that they kind of actually put that in. You know, this is kind of a lighthearted.
Sorry. Yeah, it gets dark there for a minute.
Yeah, lighthearted. Superman or Spider-Man game, and damn, there's like a bomb, and all of a sudden it's like Jesus, you know. And so I'm guessing the kid that you play, that's the Into the Spider-Verse kid.
Yeah, it's Miles
game.
Morales.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So, I gotta say, just going through the fire and all that stuff. It's the best Naughty Dog scene that since a Naughty Dog scene, basically. So it was. They have some really good set pieces, and God, I mean, how do they? I don't know. I'm kind of amazed, like how well this game just kind of finally came together, and how well everything is just so polished and well done, and even the annoying parts are like pretty pretty well done. So I'm really enjoying it. I don't know. Sometimes it's like it's hard to get back into it if you don't play it for a couple days because you're like, damn, I'm gonna play this for like 2 hours if I get like into it, And then sometimes I don't know. Sometimes those fights are like really hard. Although I'm getting better at combat. Once you start unlocking tricks and you get used to doing it, like the combat is just a lot of fun. You're just zipping around and all that stuff.
It is hard to I especially with the DLCs. Like I've got one left that I haven't done yet, and it's a little intimidating because it's like after you haven't played it for a few months, it's got a relatively complicated control scheme, and you're jumping back in, at max power with everything unlocked, and the enemies to match you at max power with everything unlocked. So it gets chaotic. It takes a while to get back into the swing of things.
When you got people shooting at you, and then you got those big ass guys running at you, and then you got these guys with their freaking ghost arms, like catching you in the air and stuff. Gee, it gets nuts, man.
Yeah, well, like it can get frustrating, but when you're actually like in the groove, like it's got a nice tactical thing where. It's not particularly realistic for the Spider-Man canon that like, oh, well, just because this guy is really large, that means Spider-Man can't just punch him straight up. I'm pretty sure Spider-Man could still just punch him. But for a gameplay perspective, like that adds that nice tactical element of like, you need to change up your moves and your tools for the situations, taking out a rocket launcher guy versus a shield guy versus a stun baton guy versus a big fat guy, and then they get real nuts when the paramilitary guys from the DLCs get in, and you've got jetpack guys. And,
yeah, that's another thing too. I really like the God, they just nailed the story so well, and like how Oscorp like brings in their own like private military force with this crazy armor, and then they start sectioning off streets and stuff. So I'm just a little further than that. So I don't know how that stuff ends, but it's just, yeah. Then all of a sudden, like, oh yeah, after the terrorist event, he talks about bringing the force, and then all of a sudden I'm running around the world and stuff, and then there's a fucking like divider down the wall and stuff, and like these military tanks with these freaking guns on the top.
Yeah. It really it really reminded me of Prototype in that it's an open world New York City game with really fun movement that like the city gets cordoned off more and more as you go along. Mm-hmm. But and also we talked just about like the polish and the detail in that game. When the fast travel, I don't know how much fast travel you've even done because it's really just there for if you're pressed for time. Because most of the time you're like, well, I'll just swing my way over there. It'll take a minute longer, but the animations are really fun and like they actually change it up based on the story. So you go ride the subway, and early in the game, like Spider-Man will be on his phone or like a hobo will be sleeping on Spider-Man's shoulder as he's just riding the subway like normal, which is hilarious. With you do the alternate costumes can lead to some hilarious moments. But once the city gets locked down by like the Sable mercenaries, and you do the fast travel, the animation then is changed up to Spider-Man's riding the outside of the train, and in the window you can just see some of the mercenaries standing around guarding the train. So that's just the amount of detail they put into that. It's like, all right, we'll have the animations for the loading for the fast travel like change up based on where we are in the story.
Yeah, the whole world slowly changes as the story progresses, which is super pretty cool. All right, so yeah, I'm really enjoying it. So, all right, Spider-Man. All right, what you got for us?
Not a whole lot. I bought Bloodstained because I had not I didn't really have a lot of interest because it like just watching the trailers and stuff was like, yeah, this doesn't look like anything that special, and like people were very skeptical, and it was suffering from Kickstarter success syndrome, and they even like retooled the whole visual style to appease the angry fans, which is fine. Like that's cool to be responsive to the community. Though the actual like change seemed like a real lateral move to me. Like I watched the trailer where it's like, this is what it looked like before. This is what it looks like now. And I'm like, they both look fine. They look a little different. I don't get it. But doo-doo crying children, I have not made it through the opening cinematic yet.
Oh yeah.
But I did have some time earlier in the week to play some Doom 2016. But I don't know. It's actually not holding up as much as I thought.
Are you like going back in the middle or like restarting it?
That's kind of one of the things is it's been hard to figure out like where to go back to because at first I started like a whole new save, but then I don't have like the harder difficulties that I played on like unlocked. I don't know what unlocks them, so I'm like I don't really know what the point is of starting a new save at the same difficulty. Because you can still go back and play levels. You're just a little more powered up because it does. If you just go back and replay like level 1. I think you've got all your upgrades and stuff, but it limits the weapons you have to like what you would have, on your first playthrough, like what you had access to. So like the first level, you basically just have like the shotgun and stuff, and that's kind of how it adjusts progression for post beating the game. But I did mess around with the arcade mode, which is actually a lot of fun. That was I don't know when they added that after I played it, but before now, obviously. Which is so it's just replaying levels with kind of the story stuff cut out, cutscenes and whatnot, and then with a scoring system where you get bonuses for things like headshots or multi kills. and the glory kills, and obviously, and then you get chaining them together, and then you've got your bonus multiplier that reseeds that, and you can actually like tactically hang on to power ups, because picking power ups up like buys you a little. It doesn't add to your score, but it buys you time on your combo meter. So you can kind of like string like one fight to another based on like, all right, there's just like a line of armor shards. As long as I'm running over armor shards the whole way from this fight to the next one, I'll be able to keep the combo going between them, which is cool. Except it really shines a light on. And then when I went back and started just playing, like once I kind of got back into the swing of the combat, I started just going back through the single player campaign levels that I had missed stuff in. Like, oh, if I missed a secret or if I missed a challenge. So basically, I'm just going back for like 100% completion through that difficulty. And it's really like highlighting just how bad the navigation is in the levels. Like the level design works for a combat standpoint. Like they have interesting arenas to jump around in, but like the downtime in between is just frustrating and boring because it's really hard to tell where you're supposed to go versus where you came from.
Yes.
Because you go into you go into this arena fight and you're like running around the room for 5 minutes killing things, and then when you're done you're like, okay, which way did I come in, which way am I supposed to leave? So the game has like a heavy over reliance on like little green lights on things to kind of guide your way. So after a while, like you're just strictly looking for like, all right, what's lit up in green?
But they're super small and tiny and hard as hell
Yeah.
to look. And also, isn't the way where you came also have green lights? Right? They don't change the red, right?
Well,
I don't
but
think so.
they're generally just set up where you only see them from one side.
This is
because they're like on every ledge that you can grab.
Yeah.
Like all the ledges that oh, you're supposed to go this way, so there'll be just a little green light on the ledge, so you can't once you're on the ledge looking back, you don't see it. But and then the map, it's got a really great map, which is kind of a follow callback to original Doom, which had a fancy auto map. But yeah, it's just, I feel like I'm over relying on the map and the like very obvious waypointing rather than like these areas having any kind of natural flow. And then when you factor in that you're looking for secrets and stuff too, yeah, the pacing gets really bogged down. And so the arcade mode ends up just being a lot more fun because that way you're focused more on like, well, I'm gonna, it makes the combat, I think, more fun because, you're not, you're more incentivized to change things up for the scoring than just pure survival. So I guess I haven't tried playing on harder difficulties yet with the arcade mode. Maybe it gets frustrating, but yeah, it's just
Yeah, so just speaking about arcade mode, I played that and I enjoyed it a lot. I just didn't like the fact that if you died, you start the whole level over.
Oh yeah, that is annoying because you and I kept falling into pits. And, these levels aren't. It's an entire single player campaign level, just somewhat streamlined. So yeah, it gets really like, and if you're hunting for a key, you missed like a colored key. That's annoying. You're like, oh, my beautiful score, my combo multiplier.
Yeah, just give me either make the enemies really easy or give me a shit ton of life, or make it a variable depending on my health.
I almost wonder if that's inspired. So in Doom Eternal, they've got a live system now where there are basically one ups as collectibles.
Yeah.
And then as long as you have one, you get like an instant respawn versus going back to a checkpoint. So if you die without a one up, it's just like dying in the Doom as it exists now, where you go back to the last checkpoint. But if you have a one up, then you can just be like, well, and I'm back, which I think is really cool, just because a lot of I've noticed going back to it, that a lot of my deaths are very like, oh, and I was jumping around to avoid something and I fell off the edge of the world, dead.
Yeah.
Or I was goofing off and trying to do something silly and got swarmed by a bunch of fireballs. So yeah, I almost feel like that's going to lead to people being more comfortable with higher difficulties and experimenting with the combats in Doom Eternal. So I'm not. I'm not having as much fun as I did the first time around, but it's not scaring me off of Doom Eternal yet. So.
Yeah, I think what happened is that when they finally nailed the combat, they're like, we don't have time to actually like make really great levels. Let's just ship what we have, and then they had to ship it. I think that's my theory. So hopefully they went back and fixed a lot of those mistakes.
Yeah, like maybe a lot of the level design was like more Doom 3, kind of like, I think they were going for a Doom 3 vibe at first, and then realized that they're gonna have the just the basic walking speed be a lot faster. Because there's a lot of times where you're like, oh, this is a really like beautifully decorated hallway covered in guts and hell graffiti, and they clearly did a really good job, but there's nothing in here, and I walk at like 15 miles an hour, so it's gone. You didn't even need that room.
Adios. Yeah, that's another thing. Yeah, I'll pass. Yeah, like in Spider-Man, man, I'll like pass by something. I'll be like, wow, that looks awesome, and I saw it for 2 seconds, and they probably worked on it for 6 months. Some poor guy made it, rendered it for 6 months, and no one's gonna see it. So, yeah, well, some people will see it. Oh, but one other complaint for Spider-Man: all these other games, you push up for health, and I push up is the camera, so I'm continuously pushing up on the D-pad, and it brings up my camera instead of the health, and health is on the down button, the deep button. That's one. All right, you got anything else?
No, not a whole lot. So
okay, all right. Well, life happens, folks. So
yeah,
all right,
life finds a way.
Let's let's get back to life and end the show right here. So thanks for listening, everyone. Check out the show on YouTube and make sure you subscribe on iTunes and all that. So yeah, it's been Chris Frank Games and
excuse me.
Get the music. I'll get the music going here. All right, so let's see if it's... Oh, there you go. All right, so for Frank White, my name is Chris Dots. We'll see you guys next week.
World's Greatest Podcast 2019. Woo!